everyone, and welcome to my first Let's Talk segment. My name is Yvonne. As you have already seen from the title of this video, I will be talking about toxic work environment. Who causes a toxic work environment? It's caused by three people in the organization: disengaged employees, people who are there physically, but they are not there mentally. They just spread negativity in the organization, how we are not being appreciated, we are demotivated. They just communicate bad things to their colleagues. Toxic managers also cause toxic work environment. Toxic business owners or employers also cause toxic work environment. For that, I'll be doing it in three different aspects or other segments. The first segment would be, what are the signs of a toxic work environment for the employee? And for the employer, how do you know that your workspace or rather your organization has now converted to a toxic organization? The second segment is leaving a toxic organization the only solution? How do you survive in this toxic environment? And the third segment is, what are the solutions of a toxic environment, both for the employee side and the employer side? So guys, join in and let's discuss. Unfortunately, this happens mostly with bosses or other management, and I asked around and got responses on the most bizarre comments or people have gotten from their bosses. And I had about, how many did I have? 2 bizarre responses I got. So a friend of mine who was in a very senior position was trying to advise the director of the organization on exactly what he was offering solutions to them on improving their organization. And before he would even get to the middle, or even like 3 seconds to the conversation, he was cut short. And this is what he was told. He was told, I expect you to do as I say. If you want to give input or make decisions, go and start your own organization. The things we go through to put food on our table. Anyway, the second one I got is an assistant. She's an assistant at an organization, and when she confronted her boss about how they should work, and so that they're able to be more efficient and give results, she was told, we are not joined by the hip. If you're not happy with my style of working, you can as well leave. Where I tell you, things are thick. Also known as throwing people under the bus. Unarushwa chini ya basi my. Why are you looking to use me as your scapegoat? And this mostly happens in very, very many organizations, where if you're not up to your game, you'll be thrown under the bus. A good one. For example, for me, I usually formulate a lot of policies for an organization, policies and procedures for an organization. So someone comes and tells me, draft for me a policy on bereavement. And you're wondering, okay, how do you want this bereavement? But you don't tell them. That's a conversation, you do it in your head. So you ask them, what exactly are you looking at? Are you looking at the company would be giving people 10,000? Is it a nuclear family? Just give me a little bit of what your line of thought. And this person tells you, you just go and do a draft. So here you go and do a draft, a good draft, where you think, for this bereavement policy, I will put only the nuclear family. I'll put for the, maybe if it is your spouse or your children, will give you 10,000. If it's for, I'm giving an example, if it is for your parents, we'll give you 5,000. And you say you have to come and give us notice. This is the form you will fill, And then you take the policy to your boss. and then maneno start. It's like you expected to read this person's mind on what exactly they needed. So they start complaining. Who has told you we're going to cover the parents? I'm only going to cover the the spouse and the children. And who has told you we can afford 10,000? That is the input you should have given me from the get-go. So why am I doing it my way? And then you start complaining. I'm not a mind reader. So no vague assignments. Vague assignments, we're not communicating. This one I also asked around and I got one common slang, and I have also heard of this slang. And the slang goes like this: you should be grateful you have a job. After all, we have many CVs in our database. We can replace you in 24 hours. This one I'll comment. And my comment would be, some people in organizations are of the opinion that when you wake up and go to work, you decide that you're going to fail. You have no goals, you have no ambitions, you don't know where you want to be in life, and you've decided you're waking up and go and make life miserable for people in the organization. I mean, why would you tell me you have... Don't you think your employees know people are looking for jobs? Don't you think your employee does not know this job is the one that is paying their bills? So why do you see the need to point it out? I mean, people know. People are not stupid. People are not... we know. So I find it very offensive that you bring it up, and people have their goals, people have their ambitions, they want to achieve something. So when someone wakes up to come to your organization, they know what they've come to do. Very few people you'd find have come to work to joke. Out in 100%, you'd find maybe 5%, which is a very small percentage for you to generalize people and decide now people don't know what they're doing, or they don't know people are looking for jobs and they can be replaced in 24 hours. Or, I mean, very offensive statements. Have you ever gone to an organization where a mood just starts from the reception, and you'd find there's just tension in this office? People are always looking at, hey, what time is it? They report at 8, ding, they're in the office 5 by 5:02. There's no one in that office, everyone has left. There's just tension, people are not talking, there's no teamwork, just a mood. Know you're working in a toxic workspace. This one is funny. You wake up in the morning and you feel like the whole night you have been in a construction site. It's like you have stones on your shoulders, stones on your head. And you're just thinking, who's going back to that office? What drama is going to happen today? And you dread waking up, and that tiredness comes in the morning. It comes at 5 a.m. Iko hapo when you're waking up now to prepare yourself to go to work. You feel so tired. And then when it's at 5 p.m. you're leaving the office, you're fresh, very fresh. So just know things are big. These ones are a lot. For example, you start having very high turnovers. People even leave without giving you notice. You have job insecurities in your organizations. People are not sure if tomorrow they'll be in this organization because people are being fired left, right, and center. Absenteeism. People just call in sick all the time. Either today 2 people are absent, tomorrow 3 people are absent. You ask them for a sick leave, they start stories. I had a running storm. And I just had to self-medicate in the house so they don't have this medical. Just know those are red flags that things are not okay in this organization. Then there's mashushu in the organization, moshene gossip. People are gossiping everywhere, left, right, and center. People are just gossiping, rumors. Another thing is cliques. People form cliques now in the organization, where now there's this quorum. It's like now people are officially back to high school and they gossip in these cliques. They come up with rumors in these cliques. It's now becoming unmanageable. So a manager or the owner of an organization comes up with new policies or new procedures that they want to introduce in the organization, and the employees look at them knowing this one, it will not work, but they keep quiet. Everyone sits on their hands and no one wants to give input, so just to play safe, not to be bullied, so that in case there are issues, I was not part of it, just so people watch you while you're failing, and they laugh here behind your back and go back to their cliques and discuss and say, yo, did you see what this person was saying? And they will look at you fail. While it could be salvaged, but they'll just look at you, sit on their hands, watch you fail, and not say anything. My answer is a no. Living, in my view, is a defeatist mentality. And I will give you an example. When you hop from one organization to the other, different organizations have different explanation of a toxic environment or levels of toxic environment. You could be leaving this organization that a boss told you, we have very many CVs in our database, so you can leave if you want and we will replace you in 24 hours. And then you go to an organization where competition is cutthroat. If you're not good in competing, my friend, you're out. And it is survival for the fittest. All of you are in a jungle looking for this. All of you are lions looking for this piece of meat that you're going to grab and eat. So if you're not good at competition, you will feel like this place is toxic for you, but you hopped from one toxic place to another. So for me, leaving a toxic environment is not a solution. You could either have it either way. You could go to an organization that is even has a different level of toxicness that you did not expect, and will you leave again? There are very many ways of doing this. You can do this through research. You can do this through your colleagues in the office. You can do this through your peers, and by peers I mean maybe people you are in the same colleges with, or you interacted with in seminars that you attended of the same profession. So you can do that, discuss with them so as to learn. You're here, what you're doing mostly is learning how to resolve conflict, how to manage conflict, how to manage different personalities in terms of your team members, in terms of your bosses. So you really have to upskill yourself and learn how to handle different situations before you decide to quit. This can be your fellow colleague, it can be your spouse, it can be your family member, it can be a friend, but their main role here is sanity check. You don't want to go crazy, because a toxic work environment can literally make you nuts. In Kenya, we call this kujichocha. You must kujichocha yourself and tell yourself things like, this is not a crisis, it's only a challenge. You also tell yourself things like, my job, my title does not define me holistically. I have other roles that I believe I play better. And I remember when I was in campus doing my master's, one of my lecturers said, sometimes you're in a meeting and this person, your boss rather, has really scolded you to a point that you have zoomed out and you can only think of giving them a hot slap or punching that nose so that they can learn. But when you get to this level, what do? You excuse yourself. And these are our words, by the way. We found it very hilarious. you excuse yourself, go to the washroom, and flush that toilet as many times as you can. Apparently, that flushing has a way of calming your nerves. Even if you move from one toilet to the other, flushing, but you're busy there calming yourself. So yes, I hope it helps. You can trade stories with your colleagues and make it and laugh about it. Like one of the people I was talking to were telling me that they usually tell themselves, when you get into this office, you leave your happiness and joyfulness at the door, at the entrance, and you pick all the tiredness that you left there and the negativity, now you wear it, and then you get into the office. When you're leaving to go home, you drop everything that you had picked from the door to the office and now pick your mother role, your husband role, you whatever other role that you have out of the office. Basically what you're saying is that she learned that is the only way she can separate work environment from home environment, so that she doesn't take the negativity of the office space to her home. Maybe have sticky notes of motivational quotes around your workstation. You can even have pictures of your children or your pet or your girlfriend or your spouse, pictures that make you happy, just to zone out from this toxic work environment. There's a reason why I have this as my last point. If you have tried anything humanly possible, you have done all these things that I have talked about, 5 points, you have talked to the human resource of your organization, nothing has changed, you have tried all you could and nothing is working, it's time to start planning your exit. Toxic work environments have very negative effects. They could bring a depression, anxiety. You could either overeat or undereat, and it's not healthy. You can just literally not know how to balance this toxic environment, and you're not able to separate it from your home environment. So if you get to this point, this is the last resort. Just start planning your exit. And in this point, I would also recommend a movie on Netflix. If you haven't watched it, go and watch it. It's called Inhuman Resources. Unfortunately, there are some employers or managers who don't see toxic work environment developing or unfolding. Others see it and decide to ignore it or underestimate the effect this toxic environment will have to the organization, without thinking that the productivity in the organization will go low. They'll have a bad brand image because of the turnover that is high, so people go talking badly about this organization. They literally underestimate the effect of a bad, or rather a toxic work environment. So if you realize, if you notice that a toxic environment is developing in your organization, it's about time that you strategize with your managers, with the HR, even a representative of the employees. Have a sitting and strategize on a solution. Find the issues that are happening and decide on how you're going to solve them. Getting an expert might help if you, as the employer, the managers, are willing to change. No expert will come and perform miracles if you, the manager, if you, the employer, are not willing to change. So the change must first come from yourself. If you, the owners, are the ones creating the toxic environment, accept your mistakes, as hard as it may be, accept and work on changing. In this strategic meeting, whatever is decided of how to get to move the organization forward is all that matters. Sometimes it can even lead to a proposal of laying off people who bring negativity within the organization. Toxic work environment can also bring about legal issues. For example, someone might go to court and sue on grounds of constructive dismissal. Discussion for another day. Others might go and find and win a case against discrimination. May it be on their age, may it be on their gender, may they be on sexual harassment. So toxic work environment must be stopped, must be contained, and it should not be ignored. I have given you solutions for in terms of employees. I've given you solutions in terms of employers. Let me know on the comment, what are your experiences, the bizarre statements you've gotten from your managers. Employers, what are the things that employees have shown you in your years of experience as an employer? And I hope you have enjoyed this discussion. The list is not exhaustive. Of course, there are more and more points that you can read about, that you can do in your organization, because what might work for this organization A might not work for organization B. But I hope you have learned. I've laughed a little bit because of the remembrance I've had of a few incidences and discussions that I've had with my peers, my colleagues, my friends, and I hope we have learned from each other. I hope you have enjoyed this, and I'll see you on my next upload on Thursday. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.